Welcome to Spectrum News at 10. I am Emedion James, coming to you live from Uyo. Let's take a look at today's major headlines. Vice President Shettima arrives in Switzerland for 56th World Economic Forum. Federal government sympathizes with South Africa, Mozambique, Zimbabwe over loss of lives in deadly floods. Plus, UK Prime Minister Starmer to give speech as Trump plans 10% tariff in Greenland row. We'll bring you details of the stories and more in just a moment. Please stay tuned. Many thanks for staying tuned. First in the news this morning is that Vice President Kashim Shettima has arrived in Alpine town of Davos, Switzerland, to lead the Nigerian delegation at the 56th annual meeting of the World Economic Forum, WEF. The Vice President arrived from Conakry, Guinea, where he represented President Bola Tinubu at the presidential inauguration of President Mamadi Doumbouya. According to reports, Vice President Shettima will present Nigeria's 2026 economic outlook to the world's influential political and business leaders as he participates in key plenary sessions focusing on the responsible deployment of artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and biotechnology. Throughout the week, the Vice President will hold bilateral meetings with heads of state, top executives from multinational corporations and leaders of international development finance institutions to deepen partnerships that align with the renewed hope agenda of the administration of President Tinubu. Away from that, the federal government has expressed condolences to the government and people of South Africa, Mozambique, and Zimbabwe following the tragic loss of lives in recent devastating floods. The floods have reportedly claimed the lives of more than 100 people and displaced thousands across parts of southern Africa after weeks of torrential rainfall that left entire communities cut off. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in a statement issued in Abuja by its spokesperson, Kemiabi Ebenyefa, commiserated with the affected countries over the immense human and material losses caused by the floods, which have overwhelmed rivers, damaged roads and bridges, displaced large populations, and disrupted agricultural production and essential services. It further said Nigeria underscored the growing threat posed by climate-related extreme weather events across Africa, reiterating the importance of strengthened regional cooperation, early warning systems, climate adaptation strategies, and sustained international support to mitigate the humanitarian and developmental consequences of such disasters. In the meantime, the federal government has banned all forms of mining activities within a 10-kilometer radius of bridges across the country. The Minister of Works, David Umahi, announced the directive during a press briefing in Enugu, following an inspection of ongoing project in Southeast Zone. He said the ban will curb the destruction of roads and bridges and enhance public safety. According to Umahi, the directive, which aligns with decisions of the Federal Executive Council (FEC), is aimed at strengthening the structural integrity of bridges nationwide. He added that enforcement will be intensified through the deployment of patrol boats and other security measures. On security matters, the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Ekpetokun, has said there are plans to expand ongoing anti-kidnapping operations beyond Kwara and Kogi State to other parts of the northwest and across the country as part of a comprehensive national security strategy. Speaking in an interview, the IGP disclosed that the planned expansion is in line with the broader security overhaul following a surge in kidnapping incidents. Ekpatukun said the anti-kidnapping initiative is designed to proactively tackle criminal networks, disrupt banditry activities, and restore public confidence in security nationwide. He reaffirmed the commitment of the Nigerian police force to sustaining coordinated, intelligence-driven cooperation to curb kidnapping and related crimes under his leadership. In a separate development, the African Democratic Congress ADC has called on the federal government to clarify and publish the full text of the recently signed Health Cooperation Memorandum of Understanding (MOU) between Nigeria and the United States, citing conflicting public explanations issued by both governments. The party noted that while Nigerian authorities have described the agreement as a technical and inclusive framework aimed at strengthening health security, expanding primary health care, and improving domestic health financing, official statements from the United States have presented the MOU in materially different terms. According to the party in a statement by its National Publicity Secretary, Bolaji Abdullahi, the U.S. description appears to introduce identity-based consideration and discretionary termination powers that were not reflected in the federal government's public accounts, raising concerns about transparency, constitutional compliance, and national sovereignty. While affirming its support for foreign assistance and bilateral cooperations to strengthen the health sector, the party insisted that such partnership must respect Nigeria's diversity and constitutional guarantees of equality. In another development, the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC) has released the deployment details for its 2026 Batch A Stream 1 prospective corps members, confirming that call-up letters are now available. The scheme announced this today via its official X handle, stating that some prospective corps members posted to Lagos State will undergo their orientation programs in Ekiti, Kwara, Ondo, Ogun, and Osun camps, while corps members deployed to the Federal Capital Territory will undergo the orientation course in Kaduna, Niger, and Nasarawa camps. Recall that NYSC had said only about 40% of registered prospective corps members can be accommodated for the upcoming orientation program. The scheme also issued a travel advisory to prospective corps members, stressing that prospective corps members are advised not to travel at night to the orientation camp. It further reminded them to complete documentation ahead of available, noting that required forms must be printed and signed before camp registration. We move now to Africa, where South Africa has declared a national disaster after a widespread flooding reportedly destroyed homes and killed dozens, while others sought shelters in neighboring Mozambique. According to reports, heavy rains and storms have battered the two southern African countries for weeks, claiming more than 30 lives in South Africa's northeastern Limpopo and Mpumalanga province. The head of South Africa's National Disaster Management Center, Elias Sithole, in a statement, stated that the situation is classified as a national disaster. Meanwhile, authorities have continued to search for survivors and recover bodies. On the foreign scene, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer will give a speech today following Donald Trump's plan to impose tariff on the UK and other countries that oppose his plan to buy Greenland. The Prime Minister will give his speech by 10:15 a.m. local time. Recall that on Saturday, Trump said he will impose 10% tariff on the UK, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the Netherlands and Finland by February the 1st. The tariff, which are taxes on imports from those countries, would rise to 25% by 1st of June. So on the foreign scene, at least 39 people have reportedly died in a train collision in southern Spain, and dozens more have been injured in the country's worst rail crash in more than a decade. Spain's civil guard said carriage on a marine-bound train derailed and crossed over to the opposite tracks, colliding with an oncoming train in Adamus, near the city of Cordoba. The rail network said 400 passengers and staff were on board both trains. According to Andalusia Emergency Services, at least 73 people were taken to hospital, 24 of them seriously injured, including 4 children. Meanwhile, Spanish Transport Minister Osa Puneta described the incident as extremely strange as officials launch an investigation. Still to come in the news. Senegal defeats Morocco 1-0 in extra time to win 2025 AFCON title. Stay tuned for details of this in a moment. Many thanks for staying tuned. Let's go over to the concluding parts of today's stories. On our business news, the Federal Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy has signed a landmark memorandum of understanding with the Abu Dhabi Port Group to explore strategic collaborations in port development, maritime logistics, and digital solutions. The Deputy Director and Head Public Relations at the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Osagi Edward, announced this in a statement made available to newsmen. He explained that the MOU was signed on the sidelines of the recently concluded Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week, marking a significant milestone in Nigeria-United Arab Emirates economic relations. According to him, the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adegboyega Oyetola, led the Nigerian delegation, while the chairman of Adport Group, Mohammed Hassan, led the group's management team. Still in business, data from the CBN Quarterly Statistical Bulletin has revealed that ATM withdrawals between January and June 2025 amounted to 36.34 trillion naira, nearly tripling the 12.21 trillion naira recorded in corresponding period of 2024. These represent an increase of 24.13 trillion naira, equivalent to a 197.66% year-on-year rise, even as regulators move to discourage excessive cash usage through revised fees and tightening monitoring policy. According to the data on the transaction volumes, Nigerians carried out 858.80 million ATM withdrawals in the first 6 months of 2025, compared with 496.47 million transactions in the same period of 2024. The increase of 362.34 million transactions represents a growth rate of 72.98%, indicating that higher charges did little to dampen demand for cash. In health, at least 7 fresh suspected cases of Lassa fever have emerged in Benue State, intensifying public concern over a potential wider outbreak of viral illnesses. The state epidemiologist, Dr. Asama Mungska, confirmed the development during a briefing with journalists in Makurdi, explaining that samples from the affected individuals have been taken and dispatched for laboratory testing. According to Musga, health officials are maintaining heightened vigilance, with surveillance activities expanded to ensure swift identification and response to any confirmed infections. He urged the public to prioritize preventive habits, particularly safe food storage and measures to keep rodents away, describing them as the major transmitter of the Lassa fever virus. He also stated the importance of maintaining sanctuary environment, practicing good hygiene, and sustaining effective rodent control efforts, which he said are essential to lowering the chances of transmission. Let's move now to sports, where Senegal has emerged champions of the African Cup of Nations after edging Morocco 1-0 following extra time in the final. The match remained balanced through regulation time, with both teams sharing possession and creating chances, but strong defensive displays and goalkeeping kept the score level. Extra time eventually produced a decisive moment in the 94th minute when Pape Gouya scored for Senegal with a left-footed strike following a counter-attack led by Idriss Gana. The final whistle confirmed Senegal's 1-0 victory after extra time, sealing the African Cup of Nations title. Still in sport, Senegal forward Sadio Mane has been named Most Valuable Player (MVP) at the 2025 African Cup of Nations. Mane registered 2 goals and 4 assists in 6 appearances for the Teranga Lions in the competition. The 33-year-old played a crucial role in Senegal's 1-0 final victory over host Morocco. Morocco winger Brahim Diaz won the top scorer award with 5 goals. Meanwhile, Diaz teammate Hassinin Bono was named Best Goalkeeper of the tournament. On entertainment news, Nigerian actress Yewande Adekoye has advised people planning to get married to undergo personality tests and mental health evaluation. In a video posted on social media, Adekoye emphasized the importance of signs in ensuring a successful marriage, referencing the need to check for conditions such as bipolar disorder, ADHD, and schizophrenia in potential partners. She warned that if a partner refuses to undergo such tests, it may be a red flag. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website at spectrumtvlive.ng. You're watching Spectrum News at 10. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.